The ruins were silent. Broken walls stood like old bones, and the air was heavy with dust. The sky above was not blue. It was a strange gray, as if the sun itself had grown weak. The soldier walked carefully, his boots crunching against fallen stones. His uniform was torn, his face rough from days without rest. On his back he carried a small bag. Inside the bag was food: hard bread, a few dried fruits, and one bottle of water. Every step echoed in the empty street. The war had ended here, but the land still looked alive with pain. Burned metal lay twisted, and strange alien symbols glowed faintly on cracked walls. He had been told to move forward, to search for survivors, but he found no one. Not a soldier, not a citizen. Only silence. The soldier tightened his grip on the bag. Hunger clawed at his stomach, but he ignored it. He had learned long ago to eat less and walk more. His eyes kept scanning the shadows between the ruins. He expected danger, an ambush, a trap, maybe a drone. But what he found instead was something far stranger. A sound. It was faint, almost too soft to hear. Like a whisper carried by the wind. He stopped and turned. The ruins were still, nothing moved. Yet again the sound came, a thin voice broken by fear. "Can we share your food?" His heart jumped. The soldier turned sharply, raising his weapon. His eyes searched the shadows. For a moment he thought his mind was playing tricks. Hunger, exhaustion, and too many battles could create ghosts. But then he saw them. At first he thought they were human children. Small bodies crouched in the corner of a ruined doorway, their eyes wide, their voices trembling. But as he stepped closer, his breath caught. They were not human. Their skin was pale and marked with faint glowing lines. Their fingers were too long, their faces too sharp. Yet their eyes looked so familiar. Again the whisper came, fragile and afraid. "Food. Please?" The soldier froze. He had seen many things in this war. He had seen alien warriors with weapons strong enough to burn a tank in seconds. He had seen human cities fall into smoke and ash. But he had never seen this. Children, alien in body but human in hunger, staring at him with hollow cheeks and desperate eyes. His weapon shook in his hands. Memories came rushing back. His commanders had told him again and again, "These beings are the enemy. They are dangerous. They cannot be trusted." He had believed it. He had fought without mercy. Yet now, faced with these children, he felt no hate. Only confusion, and something else he did not want to admit. He lowered his weapon slowly. The children stepped forward, timid and shaking. There were 3 of them. The smallest one's legs trembled as though they could not hold his weight. Their clothes were rags, thin cloth that could not keep out the cold. One of them reached out a hand, small and trembling, not for a weapon, not for power, but for bread. The soldier's throat felt dry. His hand went to the bag on his back. He could hear his own heartbeat pounding in his ears. Inside that bag was his lifeline. Without food, he would not last long. Yet here were these strange children, asking him for the very thing he needed most. He hesitated. In war, hesitation could mean death. He knew this. But the longer he looked at them, the harder it became to turn away. Their eyes seemed to pierce through him, eyes that held no lies, no threats, only need. Hunger was the same in all creatures. He recognized it because he had felt it himself. The whisper came again. Softer now, almost broken. "Please. Can we share?" The soldier's chest tightened. His mind screamed at him, "They are not human. They are not your people." Yet his heart answered differently. "But they are children." A sudden gust of wind blew through the ruins, carrying dust and the faint smell of smoke. The soldier looked up at the gray sky, then back down at the children. His hand tightened on the strap of his bag. He could not decide. He wanted to give, but he was afraid. Afraid of what this meant. Afraid of what would happen if others found out. For a long moment, no one moved. The children stared at him, their lips trembling, their hands still reaching. The soldier stood frozen, trapped between orders and conscience. Then in that silence, he realized something that made his blood run cold. The way they spoke, the words they used, the voices that reached his ears. They were speaking in human language. The soldier felt his heart stop. Who had taught them? And why? The ruins were silent again, but inside his chest a storm had begun. The soldier could not move. His boots felt heavy, as if the broken stones beneath him were chains. Those children, if they could be called children, still stared at him with hollow eyes. Their lips trembled, their hands stretched forward. The sound of their voices still echoed in his head. Human words, human tones. His training screamed inside his skull. Don't trust them. They are not like you. They are dangerous. But nothing about their faces looked dangerous. They looked fragile, weak, and painfully empty. The soldier's hand rested on his bag. He could feel the hard shape of the bread inside, the dry fruit wrapped in cloth. It was not much. Enough for him to survive another 2, maybe 3 days. Without it, he would starve before reaching his unit again. But when his eyes met theirs, he saw the same hunger, the same raw need that had gnawed at him for weeks. He had never seen hunger wear such a thin, desperate mask. Slowly, one child stepped forward. His legs shook as if each step cost him strength he no longer had. His skin was pale, almost translucent, glowing faintly under the gray light. Strange blue lines moved under the skin like veins carrying light instead of blood. He raised his small hand again and his voice cracked. Please. Food. The soldier's throat burned. He remembered the war. He remembered walking through villages where human children had begged for bread in the same way. He remembered turning away because his orders said move forward, do not stop, do not give. But those memories had haunted him every night. And now here he stood again. Different planet, different people, but the same eyes, the same hunger. He swallowed hard. His hand trembled as he reached into the bag. He pulled out a piece of bread, hard and dry, a soldier's ration. The children's eyes widened at the sight of it. Their lips parted as though they had forgotten what hope felt like. He crouched down and placed the bread on the ground between them. His other hand never left his weapon. If this was a trick, he would be ready. For a long moment, no one moved. The children looked at him, then at the bread. Finally, the smallest one crawled forward. His fingers, too thin for his body, closed around the bread. He pulled it to his chest as though it was treasure. Then quickly, he broke it into 3 pieces and shared it with the others. The soldier blinked. He had expected them to fight over it, to grab and claw like wild animals. But no, they shared carefully as if the act itself was sacred. Each child took a piece and held it with reverence before biting. When the bread touched their lips, something strange happened. The glowing lines beneath their skin brightened faintly like dim stars waking in the night. Their eyes shimmered, a pale light flickering within. The soldier stiffened. Was this human food healing them? Or changing them? He could not look away. The children chewed slowly, carefully, as if afraid the food would vanish if they ate too fast. Their shoulders relaxed, their breathing steadied, but the hunger in their eyes did not fade. It was deeper than the stomach. It was carved into their very being. The soldier whispered under his breath, "What are you?" None of them answered. They only looked back at him with glowing eyes, as though the question itself was too big to carry. Then, from somewhere deep in the ruins, a noise broke the fragile moment, a metallic hum. The soldier's head snapped up. His body stiffened. He knew that sound too well. Patrol drones. Machines built to scan the ruins for survivors, human and alien alike. Machines that followed orders without mercy. He cursed under his breath. If the drones found him, it would mean questions. If the drones found the children, it would mean death. The children froze, their glowing eyes wide with fear. The smallest one clutched the last crumb of bread tightly in his hand, as if food could protect him from machines. The soldier looked at them, then at the sky where the sound grew louder. He could already see the red beams of the drones sweeping across the broken walls. They were close. Too close. His training said, leave them. Save yourself. His heart said, hide them. Protect them. He clenched his teeth. Quiet, he whispered harshly. He gestured with his hand, pointing to a gap beneath a fallen wall. The children hesitated but then hurried, crawling into the dark space like frightened animals. Their glowing eyes disappeared into shadow. The soldier pulled his rifle closer and crouched low. The drones floated into view, their black frames sleek and sharp, their red eyes scanning the ruins. One beam passed over the place where the children hid, and for a breathless second he thought it would stop. But it moved on. The machines hovered for a long moment, their sensors buzzing in the air before gliding forward into the distance. The hum faded slowly like a storm passing away. The soldier let out a slow breath he had been holding. His chest ached with the weight of it. He turned back to the gap in the wall. Slowly, the children crawled out. Their faces were pale, their hands shaking. But their eyes were locked on him. Not with fear, not even with hunger, but with something else, trust. The soldier felt his stomach twist. Trust was dangerous. Trust was heavy. Trust was not something he could carry in this war, and yet, here it was, staring at him in the eyes of 3 starving alien children. The ruins around him were still. The drones were gone. But inside, the soldier knew the silence would not last. He had made a choice already. Even if he had not said it aloud, he could not walk away, and that realization frightened him more than any machine. The ruins were quiet again, but the soldier's heartbeat refused to slow. The red glow of the drones had vanished into the distance, yet their presence lingered like a shadow over his mind. He turned toward the children. They stood close together, their small frames trembling, their eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. The soldier's gaze fell on the crumbs of bread in their hands. They had eaten, yes, but their faces still carried the same hollow look. Their cheeks were sharp, their bones too visible beneath pale skin. Hunger clung to them like a second shadow. He knew that look too well. He had seen it on human faces during the long marches of war. Hunger never left quickly. It lingered like a ghost. He reached into his bag again. His fingers brushed against the last of his rations. 2 more pieces of bread, a strip of dried fruit, and a bottle of water. His stomach tightened. That was all he had. Without it, he would not last long. His mission would fail, and he would never see home again. And yet, when he looked at the children, he felt his grip loosen. The smallest child, barely tall enough to reach his waist, was staring at him with wide, glowing eyes. The way he looked at the soldier was not just hunger. It was hope, and hope was heavier than any weapon. The soldier sighed and pulled out another piece of bread. He crouched down and held it out in his hand. The children hesitated, as if unsure if this was real. Finally, the smallest one stepped forward, his thin hands reaching out. The soldier let the bread go. The child's fingers closed around it, trembling. He lifted it to his lips and took the first bite. At once, the change began. The glowing lines beneath his skin pulsed brighter, as though life itself had been poured into him. His shoulders straightened, his breathing deepened. His eyes, dim and lifeless before, now flickered with a strange light. It was as if human food had unlocked something hidden inside his body. The soldier stared in shock. He had expected relief, maybe a smile. But this was different, this was unnatural. The other children watched with envy burning in their glowing eyes. They did not fight, but their hunger was sharp, cutting the air around them. The smallest one broke the bread again, just as before, and shared it with the others. Each bite lit their veins brighter, each chew bringing a spark of life back into their frail forms. The soldier's hand tightened on his weapon. What was he seeing? Were they healing? Transforming? Or was this some dangerous power awakening inside them? He did not have answers. He only had questions. The children chewed in silence, the glow beneath their skin steady and calm now, like embers after a fire. When the last crumb disappeared, they looked up at him again. Their voices came soft, carried by the same strange echo as before. More? The soldier felt a cold wave pass through him. His bag grew heavier on his back, though he knew it was lighter now. He could not give them everything. He would not survive. Yet the way they looked at him, like he was the last light in their endless night, made it almost impossible to refuse. He stood and turned away, trying to steady his thoughts. His eyes scanned the ruins again. Every corner looked dangerous now, not just because of drones, but because of the truth he could no longer ignore. These children were connected to humans somehow. Their bodies were alien, but their language, their hunger, even the way they shared food, it all spoke of something more. Something the war had hidden. But how? And why? He gritted his teeth. He needed answers. The air shifted. A faint sound came from the east, a metallic groan followed by the crash of stone. The soldier spun, weapon raised, eyes locked on the shadows. For a moment the ruins seemed alive, every broken wall watching him. Then silence returned, broken only by the faint breathing of the children behind him. He lowered his weapon slowly, but his instincts screamed at him. They were not safe here. The children stepped closer, clutching at the edges of his uniform. Their glowing eyes reflected fear now, not hunger. They understood the sound as well as he did. Something or someone was coming. The soldier looked at the bag on his back, then at the children at his side. He was no longer just a soldier with orders. He was a guardian, unwilling or not. He whispered harshly, "Stay close. Don't make a sound." They obeyed instantly. The soldier moved carefully through the ruins, every sense sharpened. His boots crunched softly on broken stone. The children followed, their small steps almost silent. Every shadow felt like a trap, every gust of wind a warning. Then, another sound reached them, heavier this time. Footsteps. Not the light glide of drones, but the weight of something alive. The soldier froze. The children huddled closer. His finger rested on the trigger, his eyes narrowing into the dark ahead. From the corner of a ruined arch, a figure appeared. It was not human. And it was not a child. The soldier's chest tightened. Whoever this was, they were larger, older, and wounded. Their strange skin carried the same glowing lines as the children, but dimmer, weaker as though fading. Their body leaned heavily against the wall, blood, if it was blood, staining their side. The soldier raised his weapon, his voice sharp. "Stop!" The figure did not move forward. Instead, it lifted its head and spoke in a broken, trembling voice. The words cut through the silence like a knife. "They are not safe here. Neither are you." The soldier's breath caught. The voice was not only alien, it carried the rhythm of human speech. He looked at the children, then back at the wounded figure. His mind spun. Who were they? And why, in this broken land of enemies, did they speak like his own people? The soldier did not lower his weapon. His eyes stayed locked on the wounded figure standing in the shadows. The stranger's body leaned against the broken wall, their chest rising and falling with shallow breaths. The glowing lines beneath their skin flickered like dying embers, weak and unstable. Behind the soldier, the children pressed closer to his legs. Their glowing eyes shifted between him and the figure, but there was no fear in their faces. Instead, there was something else, recognition. The soldier's voice was cold and sharp. "Who are you?" The figure coughed, a rough sound that echoed against the ruins. When they spoke again, the words came slow, broken but clear enough to make the soldier's blood run cold. "I am their guardian." The soldier's hand tightened on his rifle. His training told him to end this. A wounded enemy was still an enemy. But something in the figure's tone, something heavy with pain and truth, held him still. The figure looked down at the children. Their glowing eyes softened, and for a moment, the soldier saw the same expression he had seen on human parents during the war. Protective, desperate, loving. "They are not safe," the figure said again, each word forced through ragged breaths. "And neither are you." Before the soldier could reply, a sound broke the air, a low hum, mechanical. How the soldier's heart sank. Drones, again? But this time the sound was different. He had heard patrol drones before, light scanning machines. These were heavier, deeper, hunting drones, built for one purpose, to find and destroy. The figure's head snapped toward the sound, their eyes wide with fear. "Run," they whispered. The soldier hesitated for only a second. Then instinct took over. He grabbed the smallest child by the arm and barked at the others. "Move!" The children obeyed without question, their glowing eyes wide with terror. The wounded guardian pushed themselves away from the wall, stumbling but still moving. The soldier led them into the ruins, his boots pounding against broken stone. The hum of the drones grew louder behind them, joined by the sharp whir of weapons powering up. Red beams cut through the dark, sweeping across the ruins like hungry eyes. "Faster!" the soldier hissed, pushing the children forward. The group darted through narrow alleys between shattered walls. The ruins seemed alive with noise now, drones buzzing, stones falling, breaths coming fast and hard. The soldier kept his rifle ready, but he knew he could not fight machines built for slaughter. The only hope was to hide, to outsmart them. They reached a collapsed building. The soldier shoved the children through a crack in the wall and crawled in after them. Inside, dust filled the air and broken beams leaned dangerously overhead. The wounded guardian stumbled in last, collapsing against the stone with a groan. The soldier raised a hand for silence. Outside, the hum grew louder. Red light swept across the wall, slipping through cracks. The children pressed close to him, their glowing eyes shining faintly in the dark. The soldier cursed under his breath. That glow, it was like a beacon. The drones would see it. He tore a strip of cloth from his torn uniform and quickly covered their faces, pressing the fabric against their glowing skin. "Stay still. Stay quiet," he whispered. The hum passed over them, slow and searching. For a moment, the light stopped at the crack in the wall. The soldier's breath caught. He raised his weapon, ready to fire if the machine came closer. Then after what felt like forever, the beam moved on. The hum drifted away, fading slowly into the distance. The soldier let out a breath he didn't realize he had been holding. His arms shook, his whole body tense with the weight of fear. The Guardian coughed, blood dripping from their lips. They will not stop, they whispered weakly. The drones will keep hunting. They know the children live, they know what they are. The soldier turned to them sharply. What are they? He demanded. The Guardian's eyes flickered, glowing faintly in the dark. Half of you, half of us, born in secret, hidden from both sides. The war was not only about land or power, it was about them. The soldier froze. The words struck him like a blow. Half human, half alien. The children looked at him again, their glowing eyes wide and unblinking. Suddenly everything made sense, their voices, their hunger, the strange light that came alive with human food. But before he could ask more, the hum returned. Louder this time, closer. The soldier's instincts roared. We have to move, he said. He grabbed his bag and pulled the children to their feet. The Guardian struggled to stand, their body trembling, but the soldier grabbed their arm and dragged them along. They burst out of the ruined building and into the night. Red beams cut across the sky behind them, slicing through dust and smoke. The hum became a roar and the ground shook with the weight of machines closing in. The chase had begun. The soldier pushed forward, his legs burning, his lungs on fire. The children ran beside him, their glowing eyes flickering like stars in the dark. The Guardian stumbled but refused to fall. For the first time in a long time, the soldier felt something more than survival. He felt purpose, and with every step he knew one truth. If he failed to protect them now, the war had never truly ended. The ruins stretched endlessly, broken walls and shattered towers rising like the bones of a dead world. The soldier moved quickly through the rubble, guiding the children with one hand and holding his weapon with the other. The wounded Guardian stumbled beside him, each step heavy with pain. Behind them, the distant hum of drones echoed like thunder, always searching, always near. They finally reached a cavern hidden beneath a collapsed dome. The soldier pushed aside loose stone and ushered the children inside. The air inside was cool and damp, filled with the smell of earth. For now, the drones passed overhead without noticing. The soldier crouched low, his rifle ready, his ears straining for any sound of machines returning. When silence held, he finally turned to the Guardian. The figure was pale, their glowing veins dim, their breathing ragged. The soldier wanted answers, and he wanted them now. What are those children? He demanded. His voice was harsh, low, but edged with desperation. Why do they speak like us? Why do they eat our food? Tell me the truth. The Guardian's glowing eyes flickered. For a moment, they said nothing. Then with a slow breath, they spoke. They are not fully mine, the Guardian whispered. And they are not fully yours. They are both. They are the future. The soldier's brow tightened. What do you mean? The Guardian leaned back against the stone, clutching their wound. Their voice grew weaker, but their words carried weight. Long before your armies landed here, experiments began. Not by my people. Not by yours. By those who wished for power greater than either race could hold. They took human prisoners, and they took my kind. They broke laws, they defied nature, and they created children in secret. The soldier's chest tightened. He glanced at the three small figures huddled together. Their glowing eyes reflected faint light, watching him, waiting. Half human, half alien, he murmured. The Guardian nodded slowly. Yes, they were meant to be weapons, stronger, faster, able to live where humans and my people could not. But what the creators did not understand. The Guardian's eyes softened, resting on the children. It was that they would not be weapons at all. They would be innocent. They would be life itself. The soldier felt his throat tighten. He remembered the war, the endless battles, the commanders' voices telling him the enemy must be destroyed. He had believed it. But now, staring at these children, the truth tore through him. Why do they speak our language? He asked quietly. The Guardian coughed, blood staining their lips. Because they carry both bloodlines. They were born with fragments of your tongue, fragments of mine. They learn faster than either side. They feel deeper. They hunger stronger. Human food feeds them because they are part of you. My blood gives them light. Your blood gives them voice. The soldier sat back, stunned. His rifle lowered slightly. forgotten for the moment. The children shuffled closer to the Guardian, their glowing eyes full of silent worry. The smallest one touched the Guardian's arm gently. The Guardian smiled faintly, though pain lined every part of their face. "They are the bridge," the Guardian whispered. "If they live, there is hope for both our worlds. If they die, the war will never end." The soldier's heart pounded. He thought of his commanders. He thought of the drones hunting them even now. He thought of the bread in his bag, the last of his food, the last of his strength. He thought of the choice he had already made without realizing it. "They told me you were monsters," the soldier said, his voice low, almost bitter. "They told me your kind wanted to wipe us out." The Guardian's eyes dimmed, but their words were steady. "And my leaders told me the same about you, that you were destroyers, greedy and merciless. Perhaps both are true, but not for them." The soldier looked again at the children. Their faces were thin, their bodies frail, but their eyes held something he had not seen in years. Something more powerful than weapons or machines. Hope. The soldier exhaled slowly, the weight of the truth crushing him. He was no longer carrying just food or a rifle. He was carrying lives that did not belong to one side or the other. Lives that could change everything. A sudden noise broke his thoughts. A sharp crack, the sound of stone splitting. Dust fell from the cavern ceiling. The soldier's head snapped up. The drones were back. The Guardian's face grew grim. They will never stop. They were sent to erase what should not exist, and now they know you protect them. The soldier cursed under his breath and rose to his feet. He checked his rifle, though he knew bullets would do little against hunting drones. Still, he would fight if he had to. The children looked at him, their glowing eyes wide with fear. One of them whispered, voice trembling, "Don't leave us." The soldier froze. The words cut deep, sharper than any blade. He had heard them before, long ago, from human children during the war. Back then, he had walked away. But not this time. This time he nodded. "I won't." The Guardian's faint smile returned. Then maybe there is hope after all. Outside, the hum of drones grew louder, shaking the walls of the cavern. Red light flashed through the cracks, painting the stone with shadows. The soldier raised his weapon, his body tense. The children huddled together, their glowing eyes fixed on him. The secret was out now, and the world would never be the same. The cavern shook as the hunting drones passed overhead, their hum like thunder in the soldier's ears. Dust fell in soft clouds from the cracked ceiling. The soldier's grip on his rifle tightened. His body was tense, ready to fight, but his mind was somewhere else, caught between what he had always been told and what he had just learned. Half human, half alien, innocent. The children's glowing eyes never left him, their small faces lit with fear and trust all at once. They were not weapons. They were not monsters. They were only children. The Guardian leaned weakly against the wall, their breath shallow. "They won't stop," they whispered. "The drones will not rest until the children are gone." The soldier nodded grimly. "Then we move." He pulled the children close and led them deeper through the ruins, using broken tunnels and collapsed corridors. His boots splashed through shallow pools of water, and every sound echoed too loudly. The children struggled to keep pace, but he urged them on, never slowing. The Guardian stumbled, nearly falling, but the soldier caught them with one arm, dragging them forward. Then suddenly, another sound cut through the night. Not the hum of drones, not the hiss of wind, footsteps. The soldier froze. His instincts screamed. He raised his rifle, motioning for the children to stay back. From the darkness ahead, shadows emerged. Men in armor, human armor, familiar. His heart sank as he recognized the marks on their uniforms. His unit, his squad. Relief came for only an instant before it turned into dread. "Soldier," one of them barked. The squad leader stepped forward, his face hard, his weapon already raised. "We've been tracking you. We saw the drones. What are you doing out here?" The soldier stiffened. His eyes flicked toward the children hiding behind him. He said nothing. The squad leader's gaze followed his, and then he saw them. 3 small figures glowing faintly in the shadows. His eyes narrowed. His weapon rose higher. "What is this?" he demanded. The soldier swallowed hard. "They're just children." The squad leader's voice turned sharp, cold. "Those are not children. Those are abominations. Command has ordered every trace destroyed. You know this." The soldier's chest tightened. He remembered the orders. He remembered the way his commanders had spoken, their voices full of certainty. If you see them, erase them. Leave no survivors. Back then, he had not questioned. But now he knew the truth. They're innocent, the soldier said firmly, his voice low but steady. They didn't choose this. They're not enemies, the squad leader's lip curled. You've gone soft. You've forgotten what side you're on. The other soldiers stepped forward, weapons ready. Red laser sights flickered across the stone walls, crossing dangerously close to the children. The smallest one whimpered and clutched at the soldier's leg. His heart twisted. He stepped in front of them, his rifle raised, not at the children, not at the Guardian, but at his own squad. Lower your weapons, he growled. They're under my protection. The squad leader's eyes went wide with fury. Do you hear yourself? You'd betray your unit for them? The soldier's jaw clenched. His voice shook, but not with fear, with anger. I've seen betrayal. It's not here. It's in the lies they fed us. These kids, they're the only truth left. The squad leader's face hardened. Then you've chosen your fate. The air grew heavy. For a moment, no one moved. The children huddled behind the soldier, their glowing eyes wide with terror. The Guardian coughed weakly, their voice barely a whisper. Do not let them take the children. The soldier's finger hovered over the trigger. His whole life had been leading to this moment. Every order, every battle, every oath. And now, standing in the ruins with his squad aiming at him, he knew he had to break all of it. The first shot rang out. The cavern exploded with sound, rifle fire, stone shattering, echoes crashing like thunder. The soldier dove to the side, pulling the children with him. He fired back, not to kill, but to drive his squad back to protect the small figures clinging to him. Run, he shouted at the Guardian. The children scrambled toward a gap in the stone wall, their glowing eyes flashing like stars in the dark. The Guardian stumbled after them, dragging their injured body forward. The soldier rolled behind cover, bullets sparking against the wall near his head. His squad shouted, their voices filled with anger and disbelief. Traitor! One screamed, but he did not care. For the first time, his path was clear. He fired again, covering the children as they slipped into the shadows. His squad advanced, their boots pounding closer. The soldier's body ached, his mind screamed, but his heart was steady. He had chosen. As the last child disappeared through the gap, the soldier turned back to face his squad. His rifle burned hot in his hands. His breath came heavy, sharp. He was no longer just a soldier. He was something else now. A protector. And he would not let them pass. The cavern roared with gunfire. Bullets tore into the stone, sparks flashing in the dark. The soldier pressed his back against a wall, his rifle hot in his hands, his heart hammering in his chest. His squad was closing in, their voices sharp with anger. Stand down, his commander shouted. You're throwing your life away for them. The soldier's jaw clenched. Dust rained down from the ceiling as another barrage struck the wall near his head. He glanced toward the gap in the stone where the children had escaped. Their faint glowing eyes were gone now, swallowed by shadow. The Guardian had dragged them deeper into the ruins, away from the fight. Good. That was all that mattered. He took a deep breath. If I fall, he muttered under his breath, at least they'll live. His squad advanced. Boots pounded against stone. Shadows shifted as they spread out, surrounding him. The soldier fired back, not wild but precise. Shots meant to keep them pinned, to slow them down. He didn't want to kill his own people, but he would if he had to. One soldier fell with a cry, clutching his arm. Another ducked behind a pillar, shouting for backup. The commander's face twisted with rage. You're a traitor, the commander snarled. You've chosen aliens over your own kind. The soldier's voice rose, sharp and raw. I chose children over murder. If that makes me a traitor, so be it. The commander raised his rifle, eyes burning with fury. For a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. Then the cavern shook. The sound was deeper than gunfire, heavier than boots. The ceiling groaned and stones cracked above. A drone, larger than any the soldier had seen before, tore through the wall with a shriek of metal. Its frame glowed with red light, its weapons humming with deadly power. Both sides froze. Even the commander lowered his weapon slightly, eyes wide. The drone was not here to take sides. It was here to erase everything. The machine's sensors locked onto the group. Red beams swept across the cavern, landing on the soldier, on his squad, and on the faint glowing trail left by the children. The soldier's chest tightened. If it followed that trail, the children would be dead. No, he growled. He broke from cover, charging forward, his rifle blazing. Bullets slammed into the drone's armor, sparking uselessly. The machine's gun swung toward him, targeting his lone figure. "Stop!" his commander shouted, but it was too late. The drone fired. The blast threw the soldier backward, heat and light searing his body. Pain exploded through him as he hit the ground hard. His rifle clattered away into the dust. For a moment, everything was silent. His vision blurred. The edges of the world grew dark. Then he felt it, a small hand clutching his sleeve. He turned his head weakly. One of the children was there, eyes glowing bright, tears streaking down their pale face. The others huddled behind, their small bodies trembling. Somehow they had come back for him. The soldier's heart ached. He forced a broken whisper past his lips. "Go. Don't stay here." The child shook their head, voice small but steady. "We will not leave you." The soldier's breath caught. The words pierced him deeper than the blast. He had spent so long believing he was nothing but a weapon, a tool in a war that had no end. But in their eyes he was more. He was protector. He was hope. The drone turned again, its red sensors locking on the children. Its weapons hummed, ready to fire. The soldier gritted his teeth. With the last of his strength, he pushed himself to his knees. His body screamed in pain, but he forced himself forward. His hand closed around his rifle, fingers trembling. He raised it, aiming not at the children, not at his squad, but at the drone's glowing core. "Not them," he whispered. And he fired. The rifle cracked. The bullet struck the core. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the drone erupted in a blinding explosion. Fire and metal tore through the cavern, shaking the ground, collapsing stone all around. When the smoke cleared, the drone was gone, so was most of the ceiling. The soldier lay on the ground, broken and bleeding, his breath shallow. The children knelt beside him, their glowing eyes full of tears. The guardian leaned over him, voice weak but soft. "You saved them." The soldier's lips curved into the faintest smile. "No, they saved me," the smallest child whispered, voice trembling but strong. "We will remember you." The soldier's eyes closed, and the world slipped away. Above, the ruins fell silent once more. And in that silence, 3 half-human children carried with them the spark of something greater than war, a spark that might one day grow into peace, or into a fire no one could control.